Hi, in this video tutorial I'll be showing you how to create a 2D elements with real-time footage. We'll be looking at things like importing the elements, bringing the composition together, fixing the animation with the tracking mode, creating the mask for an eye, animating the eyes blink, creating brightness to the eye glow, creating masking and reflection, and then the last part, what we're going to be looking at, how to color correct and make the eye look quite comparison with the natural scene. So if I play this back, this shows that it's rendering the file, so hopefully this won't take long. So as soon as it's all green, then we can just simply play this back quickly. So basically, as you can see, that you've got your glow in the eye, you got your, obviously it's a circular, and you can see that little blink there as well, which is all about masking it right away through. So hopefully we're going to talk about that quite quickly. And now that's a real time 24 frames per second. It's running in, and there you go. Okay, so we're going to get ourselves started. So firstly, what I would like you to do is just go to your Moodle area, and in your Moodle area you'll find a folder which is called Visual Effects, a project file, After Effects NM, and you need to just download that folder. Okay, so once you have downloaded your source file from iSequence and Elements and your folder Visual Effects project file, After Effects NM, and you'll have your elements and sequence files. So what I'm going to do is simply drag the whole folder of my iSequence onto my project window and go on Elements, and instead of dragging the folder, I'm going to only drag the actual clips. So basically I'm going to drag all the alpha channels, the PNG file and the TIFFs in here. Okay, and there's other way as well. We can always import as well. We can go to File, and we go import and multi-file clips, and from here as well we can import our clips as well. Okay, so let me just cancel that. First thing first, let's create a folder to make sure that we are organized. So I'm going to say source footage. Source footage, okay, and I'm going to just drag all my work in source footage. Okay, and I'm going to open the source footage. I'm going to just create another folder called elements. Okay, and I'm going to just drag this elements in my source footage, and I'm going to drag all the PNG and the TIFF files. Don't drag the eye clip in it, just simply drag the ring and thicker in that, so it should look something like that. Okay, now let's create a new composition, and let's get our eyes rolling. So if I can get you all to click on eye clip and drag it down to your actual timeline window. Okay, as soon as you drag it to your timeline window, I would just simply press your spacebar to play and spacebar to stop. But if I just press my spacebar, what you'll see here is your green light. That means it's rendering. As soon as it stops rendering, it will go in a loop mode where you can see that it's going on 25 frames per second. So if you can play back and have a little view of your eye. Okay, and I'm going to stop that here, and what we're going to do is go on elements and just bring in your thicker shape, just drag it down and make sure that it's on top of the actual eye. So basically these are all layers where you're going to be working on. Okay, and if I wanted to get rid of the alpha channel, you can see that it's very similar to Photoshop actually, if you think about it. The whole point is just making sure that when I'm playing back, I want this element, this actual alpha channel, to move with the eye pupil. Okay, and that's the whole exercise. And then you can see here somewhere as well where there's a blink, and I'm going to show you how we can really do a really smooth motion tracking even though if there's a blink. Okay, to start with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take the eye off. Okay, and let's get the tracker moving. So if you don't see this tracking window on your actual After Effects, you simply need to go to Windows and make sure that your tracker is ticked. Okay, and then you do is double click on your eye sequence, which is right down there. Watch very carefully what happens. If you double click here, we are working with the eye layer. So this is what we are actually going to be tracking on. We're not tracking on the composition, we're tracking on a layer eye. So if you simply double click on it and it will create a new layer for you. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is go to motion tracking, and on here I'm going to just simply grab my motion tracker and see where I can fit this motion tracker. The main thing about the motion tracking is to have two different type of colors where it will recognize different elements. So if I just simply open up this tracking point here and drag it slightly in, and then the inner point as well, so the outer point will actually make sure that you are actually working within this area, and this point will be tracked within that. Okay, so the outer point will be secure and making sure that the inner point will be tracked in. So if I play this back, if I analyze, just go on Analyze button and just simply go to Analyze Forward, and you can see that very clearly that it's tracking now. But watch very carefully what happens here. The track is out of sync now. So basically if I play this back, and you can see from this point, because of the blink, the tracker has forgot where it was. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start marking in and out from the tracker. So I'm going to just reset the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going to just simply bring that here. Okay, so could just play. Okay, so I'm going to just bring the tracker 0.1. Remember, it's between the black and white so that we can cover a wide range. There you go, so that it covers a nice canvas there. So I'm going to just simply see where it starts blinking. So from this point there. Okay, so I'm going to just simply mark out. Okay, so from this point, that's my in and that's my out. So let's do track first for that. So I'm going to just apply again, analyze, done. Okay, once we have done with that, what we're going to do is simply go back after the blink. Let's see where to bring in the tracker. Again, you can see the shift happening, so I can manually go back on my tracking point and go back somewhere roughly there. Okay, now I'm going to set the rest of the part where after blinking I'm going to start marking in from this point and mark out there. So let's bring in, mark in. So we're just going to bring in points here. So we just drag this in point here. There you go. So I can just simply even drag my ins, and I'm going to drag my out right there. So you know that that's my in and that's my out. Again, from this point I'm going to analyze, and I'm done. So now I can play that back, and you can see very clearly it's perfectly fine. I'm happy with that track, and now the blink is there, and you can still see that the tracker has not shifted because of the mark in and out. Okay, so that's done. Okay, once you've analyzed your tracking data, let's go back on your composition, and let's go and bring your eye back. And what we're going to do is make sure that this element is nicely shift. If you just press on the shift key, and click on the button right at the bottom here, and then kind of just bring it down a bit more so that we can kind of make sure that this is nicely tracked out. Okay, so now we're going to attach that tracking data to all our elements. So first thing first, what we're going to do is go back on our eye, okay, and we're going to say edit target, and then we can simply attach the actual TIFF file. But this is what not we're going to be doing, because remember that we got all other files to be attaching as well. Okay, so the first thing is we're gonna have a tracking data layer, which is, you can call that as a tracking data layer or a null layer. So what we're gonna do is go to layers, new, and null object. Okay, and I'm gonna just name that as a tracking data tracker data. Okay, once I've done that, what I'm going to do is simply go back on my eye, okay, double click on my eye sequence and edit target, and this time I'm going to edit target to tracker data, say okay to that, and apply. Just remember doing that, okay, because remember that we're not working with Z coordinates because it's not 3D, so it's X and Y. Say okay to that, okay, and then moving back on my composition. At the moment, see, it's still not tracked. The only thing is left is simply linking the tracker data. So this is where my tracker data is. So I'm going to do is, this is where the element is. What I'm going to do, simply go on this roller, which is called the linking selection, and I'm going to just simply grab hold of this and go on my tracking data. Okay, so once we're happy with our tracking, let's bring some more elements in. Let's go and bring some circuit board in, and as you can see that I've just got this white background behind it because it's not seeing the alpha yet. So to create an alpha channel, simply just go back on your circuit board, just do a right click on your mouse, and then interpret footage main, and then go straight unmatted. So simple as that. Just now I'm going to just simply bring in my circuit board somewhere down there, if maybe. Okay, and now again I'm going to just simply link my circuit board with my tracking data. Okay, and you can tell that I've got my tracking data there. Okay, now what we're going to do is create a mask in which will create an illusion that we're going to create from point, getting the pen tool and creating a whole mask there. Now to create a mask, you need to have a blank channel, a blank layer. So firstly what we're going to do is go to layer, new, and solid. Okay, and then we can just simply say okay to that. I can just call this a mask, or however you want to, just if I just go just rename that as a, okay, so I know that's my mask. Okay, I can just go back on my mask here, and I can just simply take the eye off. You don't want the mask at the moment, so if I can, you can see the mask is there. And what I'm going to do is simply now start creating a eye shape mask. So I'm going to use my pen tool. Okay, once you've got your pen tool, what you can do is I'm going to just make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points to create an eye. Now there's a trick to create a straight line. For example, if I just give you a quick example, so if I'm selecting a clip, so basically if I want to create a point 1, 2, these are all straight lines, okay? But in my case, what I really need to do is I need to create some curves. Okay, so to do a curve, if I just create a point there, and my second point, if I just keep hold on it, and I can simply start stretching around. So basically you can make points, curve points as well. So if I just undo that, if I just take it back, okay, Okay, so let's create a mask now. So if I'm going to just go on the pen tool and have one dot there. As soon as I click on the second one, just keep hold on your mouse, right button, and then you can just curve. Just going with the eye, that will be fine. And then kind of just bring this down a bit there somewhere. And then another one there, another one here. And then I can just make another curve. If I just undo that again, sorry. There we go. Perfect. And I can just kind of turn that round. That, and I'm done. Okay. And then of course you can move things around. If you feel that you want to really go deep inside, start working on your curves and stuff. But I think that works out fine for me. I mean, one would say that why I didn't create a mask on a particular element. Now, the reason why, because we got two different elements here, and to create a mask, to get a same effect of one mask itself. For example, if I just play this, if I just give an eye to that, so that's my mask there. But really, I want that to be reversible. So what I'm going to do is simply select both of my elements and do a right click and pre-comp, and I'll say elements, say okay. So once I've done that, now this is all together. You see that? So now I've kind of merged them as in Photoshop. You can merge layers, I can merge my elements. Now I can go on a mask and see what's happening there. That's good. Okay, now on this palette here, there's some more options to be found to create an alpha channel on the actual element. So just simply go right at the bottom on your screen, and this little box is a round and a square box, which is called more option box. If I just click on here and then just go on your elements, and where it says none on the track mat, just simply say alpha mask, and see that very clearly it's happened. So if I just reverse back, so you can see no mask, and I've got the mask back there. Once we've created the mask, we can go straight into looking at where exactly we can create a animation point for the mask. So for example, the blink is a biggest example. So when she blinks, look at that. So where the mask is and where the blink is, really we need to animate that and bring it back. To start with, let's go on the mask, and if you just press M as a mask path, okay, and then simply click on this little toggle key there, which is like a little clock, and as soon as you click there, it gives you a little pointer there, which is a element to actually start animating. So if I just start moving my cursor, as soon as I start moving my cursor, let's go on the extreme where it's a lot of movement there. There we go. So I can, of course, bring my actual cursor. So if I just kind of undo that, there you go. So if I just kind of do that, there you go. That was a movement. Again, I can just move that a little bit. Sorry, just there. Okay, so again, just slightly touch a bit. This is kind of really carefully. You need to start kind of looking at how you're gonna start working on this. So if I just kind of, so that's fine, doing fine, and then keep going. See, from this point again there's a jump, just bring it back somewhere. There you go. That's it. So I've just deleted those points. I'm just going to grab some more points in 1, 2, there we go. So just gonna give them, there you go. That's it. Let's do that. There you go. Again, just drag it up a bit more. Okay. It might not be the perfect masking, but you'll actually see the principle behind it. So to start with, just bringing that down a bit more. There you go. Remember, I deleted that. So, okay, just you can see how it's animating as well. Okay, and then the blink comes in. Let's go and let's get this blink back. There you go. So if you just start with, let's work with frame by frame. I'm going to just do that. So I'm going to just simply bring this down. So we're here. There. Yeah, you can never get this right because of how the eyes would be, but I think we can it can work is we can obviously make a little bit of feather effect there. So just click there and then please, sorry, just bring it back. Okay, and if I just play that, see that, so that's blink there, and again I want to just get this open right back. There you go. Perfect. Fine, let's bring it down a bit more. Okay. It's kind of a bit of a boring job, this one is, but it might work perfectly fine. So there we go. So I shut, open, and I've got the pointer there. From this point, let's bring it up more, because it's a quick transformation. There you go. And then perfect. And then right at the end I can just start expanding again. Okay, so there you go. So I'm pretty much happy with that. So I can just bring that down a bit more to that place where it started from. As you can see that the mask is now animated. So if I play this slowly, you can tell from this point where I can just kind of bring this down a little bit. Okay, you can always change things around even once you think that you've finished your masking and everything. It's all done. Okay, so now we are seeing the actual animation of the actual mask itself. Okay, but to start with, if I can go where it blinked, I can clearly see that there's some things can be changed radically from here. One thing you need to remember that when you're masking, you've got to be really careful and you've got to be really slow as well in doing that. If I just now go on my mask palette and click on this icon right down, and let's create some feather. Let me just give some feather to it, and let's create some feather. If I can show you on the actual mask itself what's happening, you can see that that's a feather effect, and that's the non-feather. See that? So it can just give a bit of feather effect there. Just make it, let's say 30. Just move it back, and I've got my feather effect there. Pretty happy with that. I can expand isolation, bring it down a bit. Okay, minus that, so that will look good. Okay, so once you've done with that, what you can do, let's go back on our elements. We can simply go and transform and scale the thing right down somewhere there, and I can just move the whole thing down. So let's scale it down to somewhere like this and really bring it to where it's supposed to be. So if we just kind of undo that, there you go. So if I just play back, and the blink, still subtle change there, but let me just take the feather out a little bit. So where's the feather? So let's go back on the transform and then mask, and then mask path. Let's get the feather down a bit more. There you go. Okay, let's try that. Okay. I'm happy with that. Okay, so few steps there. If you can play back the video again and just have a look, and really creating the mask, feathered it around and animating the mask so that it just goes with the actual eye pupil. Because we've got two elements there which are really straight, so what we need to do is give a bit of a curve within the eye element itself. Okay, so to start with, what we're going to do is create a effect. So make sure that you are selected your 2D element, okay, and then you click on your effects, and on effects you just go to distortion and you go to sphere size, and from here you've got your anchor point. If I start changing my radius, watch very carefully what happens here. If I start changing my radius, nothing will happen. See that? So you got because the anchor point is not in the center point, the radius will not affect. So let's bring this anchor point right from the center somewhere down here. Okay, and now if I start moving, watch this, and you start giving that kind of a look of kind of an oval shape. So if I can give a bit of sphere look somewhere down there, I'm happy with that. So I can stop right there, and if I just play this back, you can still see that I've still got this sphere look, and it's will look fine. Okay, now let's put some color to the elements. I'm going to use some circuit board colors and some red, some around. So really up to you if you want to use the same colors which I'm using, but please experiment. You don't have to really be following exactly what I'm doing, but you can just experiment as well. Okay, so let's start with, if I just click on the elements there, and I could see the circuit board, but I can't see the actual thicker shape because of the transparency. But let me just click on the actual layer number 1, and if I go to effect and generator and fill, and you'll see that there. Again, let's go on the circuit board, and I can just go to the effects, generator, fill, and I can just change it to something else. On here I can just say, let's say yellowish kind of thing. There you go. Okay, let's go back to the comp now, and this is how it looks. Quite weird actually. There we go. So if I just play it back on my main comp. Okay, I personally don't like what I've done with the colors, but let's go back on my elements and let's try that again. So let me just get a different color. So just click on my shape first, and let me just go white there, and I like the white to be my first layer. So if I can drag my white somewhere to first, and then my circuit board, I can just double click there again, and let's get it a bit of bluish kind of, really kind of dark kind of. There you go. Okay, let's go back on the comp and let's have a look. That suits quite a lot. Okay, and I can actually start looking at, if I just kind of go on my transformation and scale it down a little bit, just to making sure that if I can go back on my elements and I can actually scale the circuit itself. So if I just scale this down, no, just get it down a bit more. There we go. So I can scale a tiny bit. Let's go back on my thicker as well. I can scale that as well. Make that like 50. Uh-oh. Undo that. So scale. That's fine. Okay, and I'll definitely make sure that I'll save my work as well. Okay, so just to really recap about how we kind of created different effects. If I just go on effect here, if I remove my effect, you see it looks quite simple and there's no curve to that. But as soon as I click on the effect, I've made it looking quite an eye shape by distorting the actual eye itself, and then we use some colors as well. Okay, now let's get on to how can we create some glow effect on this circuit board. And just to bring out the circuit board more, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to my my elements, and then I'll kind of have a look. I'm going to just zoom in a little bit, so I'm going to just make it about 150 or 200 would do. There we go. And now I'm going to just make sure that I'm clicked on my circuitry, and I'm going to go to effect, and on effect, stylize and glow. Okay, as soon as I put glow there, I can extend the threshold as well. Let's extend the threshold to 70, and let's get the radius to 40. Okay, I can make the radius more high. There you go. So you can see that very clearly. I'm already getting a bit of glowy effect, which is the reason why we're going to do that, because we're going to create kind of an illusion that it's glowing in and out kind of thing. We can animate the glow as well. Okay, so what we can do is, for example, if I want to animate this glowy effect, this in and out effect. So first thing first, if I can just kind of show you, just get a constant glow there. So so from this point, if I start from 20%, sorry, 30 would do. If I just bring it way down to 61, okay, just get about 61, and then I'm going to just click on this key button there, and then I'm going to just make sure that my cursor is right at the end, and I'm going to just simply give it a bit of changing glow like that. So when you're playing it back, what's going to happen if I just play this back? There you go. It's changing, but it's a very subtle effect. There you go. So now what I've really done is I've gone on the glow and I've changed the subtlety of it. So if you can, if I go back and play back the actual main composition, it'll look something like that. So you can tell that the eye is going to change. There you go. So it's changing soon. There we go. Again, it'll keep on changing. Okay, so what I've done really here is simply animated, double click on the elements and circuit board and effects, and what I've done is gone on the stylize glow effect, and on glow effect I animated it by simply making sure that my animation starts from 0 and then it finishes right at the end. Okay, and if you're still stuck, just go back on the video and just have a look. Okay, now once we're happy with just changing the glow opacity and just giving a different kind of look to the eye, now what I'm going to do is go back on my elements again and just grab hold of the circle. Okay, and I'm going to just bring the circles right on the top. We'll just kind of go and just bring it here, and I'm going to just simply bring this down somewhere here. Okay, so once that's done, I just want to go back to my main composition to see how does that look. Okay, I can bring that a little bit smaller. Let's go back to my comp again, my element comp. There we go. Okay, again, I can change the color of the circle. I can go to effects, generator, fill, and it just goes red, but you can obviously go on your control, effects control, and then change it to somewhere subtle. There you go, somewhere down there. I can just kind of bring it down a bit more. And then again, I can obviously go to opacity, just lower it down a little bit. Just kind of looks more more in shape as well. If I just click on all mask here, you can see it goes back to its own original, because it's obviously masking different colors on each other. You can always come back and get rid of the actual color. Once you've done that, you can simply go on your control key and do a right click and go to blending modes. And of course, you can choose any of them, but I want to just blend this circle into the circuit board. So I can just go to color burn, and as soon as I go to color burn, you can see that it's gone behind it. So it's gone this kind of you got this dark blue, and then you got your main circle comes out. So I'm pretty much happy with that. One more effect I'm going to be using, I can go to effects again, I can go to stylize, and I can go to glow, and this time I'm going to just kind of glow it, not too much, just kind of give it a more subtle effect on glow, which I can make that 80 and bring it down to somewhere 40%. Okay, you might not see the actual effects yet, but just kind of follow that. I just want to change the color a tiny bit, just to you don't have to really start changing color what I'm doing, but it's really experimenting what will really suit your kind of style of coloring as well. So if I go back on my main clips, this is what it's looking like. So if I just play this back, okay, you see the effects happening in the colorizing, where obviously there's a glow effect and then it comes out, and I'm pretty much happy with that, but I might change the color of the actual ring. So let me just go back and change the color. This ring, so if I just, I'm already on the fill, so the good thing is you don't have to go back on creating new effects. I can simply go on my circle and my color is there, and I'm going to just make it a bit more kind of a white, kind of light, kind of white there. And now this might look the business. Let's go back. Yeah, there we go. So I'm pretty much happy with that. And again, let's go back on the elements, and I'm going to change the opacity down to somewhere there, just there. Okay, let's go back on the projects. Okay, there we go. I'm done with that. So if I play back, okay, so I'm happy with this. Right, so I hope for this session you kind of understand how we can bring elements together. One thing you've noticed that any element, if I've put in to this comp, anything you put here. So for example, if I just want to have another let's say circle, for example, here, what you've sorry, the circuit board there, let me just go on the circle, and if I just bring a circle in here, what you'll notice already it's connected, because you're working with the comp and you're working with the elements comp, and it's already been connected. So if I just go back on my main composition, see that it's already there. Okay, and it's really a truly good example that, you know, with one element being connected with the actual tracker, you can really track anything you like. I would really recommend that you should just go and start experimenting with different style, different colors. We've worked on fill, we worked on some glow effect. So try to give some more expression to the eye itself, because the main thing was the tracking has to be done perfectly. Now let's use some kind of expressions. What expression means, we're going to type in a bit of a expression coding, so that After Effects could analyze the timing of the eyes, how much glow I want on an eye. For example, this circle, if you can see, I want this circle to pulse. So basically I want to start the circle starting from this point coming out. So let's start by going on the 2D element, okay, and I'm going to just go on the circle itself. Make sure that you select the inner circle, because I'm going to leave the white circle out. I quite like the outer white as well, okay, which is not part of the script, but I thought, you know, it's always good to have something extra there. So if I just click on the circle there and press S on your keyboard, the scale comes out, and then you need to press on your Alt key and keep hold on and click and Alt. Okay, and then what happens, you see this red numbers comes up, and then you got expression scale, and there you go. You're going to start looking at different expression. So what I'm going to do is try to do some expression code. So I will give you a whole series of how expressions are done, but if you just follow this instructions, it's always good to kind of do a bit of more coding on After Effects to make some expressions. So if I just do bracket open and times, if I, where's my times, is Shift 8 and 90, and then I'm gonna just simply say comma, time again, and times multiplication sign 90 and bracket close. Okay, and watch this, there you go. So the expression is done. Although I could animate that quite easily, but I think it's always good to see expressions. So I can obviously go back on my main comp and watch this. So if I just play this back, okay, so the pulse goes in. But really what really I need is a loop starting from this point, coming in, there you go, and coming out. Okay, so let's make this there's zooming into the actual circle mode one. So what I'm going to do is create another expression, which obviously comes in, and then I would like that to go back. Okay, so it's pulsing in and out. Okay, so to start with, what I'm going to do is go back on my expression there, and this time I'm going to have open brackets again. So I'm going to make another bracket in it and give star there 90%. Again, brackets, and then percentage, if I can find percentage on my keyboard, there we go, 100, and then comma, which is fine, and then again times, bracket that, and I can go here on my percentage 90, and I'll say percentage and 100 and bracket close. There you go. Okay, and now let's watch this. It's coming in and it's not happened. Let's try that again. Okay, so do something quite more advanced. First we had a different expression code. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start from the 90% coming to 100, and then if you can see times again 90 and then 100. If you can just follow that, so you just put open bracket and then a parenthesis, time, just type in time and then times again, 90, close the parenthesis, percentage 100, comma, parenthesis again, time times 90, comma, percentage there, 100, and close brackets. So if I just kind of copy that somewhere, and let's play this back. So if I just play this, So see that? So basically that's like a little pulse happening on your on the animation itself. So instead of going through the timeline and creating keyframes, you've just kind of created a successful expression scale. So if I just go back on my main comp and let's have a look at this. There you go. Okay, and the beauty of this is you can go back and use the same kind of expression, copy that expression, and I'm going to use the same expression on my my circle outside. So if I just click on here and then press S, press on the Alt key, right click, expressions are there, and I'm going to just simply just double click there and copy the expression here as well. So let's watch what happens. We've got two expression going at the same time. Okay, I can change the opacity of that, so let's change that differently. So let's make that more 80, so 80, make that 80 again, so it's different, and then make that 80 and then 80 again, or I'll just make that 100. So just gonna see that, so it's something really different happening there. So if I just kind of make that 80 as well, so 80 and then bracket close, let's check that, there you go. I can just kind of just simply select that and then kind of move that somewhere down there, so it just kind of gives us a center point. There you go, and make it a bit smaller as well, just to give you that more. So if I just come off from here, and I'm going to just make this bigger, there you go. So if I just now go on the comp side, there you go. So the two expressions happening same time, there you go. Okay, now we got just one more element to really put into the eye. It's kind of a little ring which goes from this point to that point. So what I'm going to do is go back on my 2D elements, and I'm going to just go on my project and go on the ring. Okay, you might not see the ring here because it's all black, but and for channel we can fill that in a minute. So I'm going to just bring the ring in, and I'm going to drop it just on my first or second layer. I can just drop it down there. My ring is there. Obviously you can see it's quite big, so I can just go to layer, sorry, effects and generator, and fill the ring with something something subtle. Let me just get some dark blue, some kind of really kind of, or maybe light blue would do. There we go. That's it. And I'm gonna, if you can see that, there we go. So it's quite big, so I'm gonna just make that small. Just press the shift key so the scales don't change. Make sure that you just press the shift key, bring that in here. So I'm gonna start my ring coming from this point. So what's gonna happen, I'm gonna use an expression again. So let's use expression for actually the rotate expression. So what I'm going to do is simply press R, making sure that the ring is selected. Press R, and again pressing hold on your Alt key and right click. Okay, and then you got your expression rotator there, and I'm going to just simply write an expression, time, and then multiplication. Let's put 10 for example, and let's see how subtle that is. That's very slow. So if I just play this back, you can see there's movement there, but it's very, very slow. Let's make it, let's say 75 or 80. Let's do 80, and let's try that. There you go. So something is moving. That's really good. So you can tell that there's going to be moving quite a lot. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to duplicate this ring so that I've got two rings moving in and out. So I'm going to do Apple D, Control D, and I've got two rings now. So the ring which I've just copied, I can just simply use the scale by S, and I'm going to just change the scale to somewhere down there. So I've got scale, bigger scale and small scale, small ring. So I can just simply name that as well. So I can just say rename small ring and large ring. Okay, there you go. So I've got two rings there, and if I go back on my comps, you can tell that there we go. I've got now ring going round. There's a lot of things happening, and there you go. So there you go. Some people would like that. I would like to change the actual speed of one of the ring to make it kind of I will let the outer ring to go first, and then I'm going to bring the inner ring later on. So let's go back again, and let's change the speed of it. So for example, I can go back on my expression on this. So it's going it was rotate expression. So press R, and then press on the Alt key, click, and if I just make that rotate expression to be, this time I'm going to write minus time, so it's going to go all the way around, and times 75%. So let's watch that. There you go. So now you can see that very clearly. It's if I just make that white color so that you can actually see them. So just go on the fill and just make them white just for demonstration purposes. Let me just make this white. Okay, there we go. And let's go back on the comp, and yeah, that works for me. Okay, now let's look on color correcting between the skin tone, and of course we've got a lot of graphic happening here, but let's kind of make this skin tone a bit more subtle, a bit more eye-catchy as well. So to start with, let's go on our main comp, which is this comp here. Of course, you can see the eye obviously there with nice keyframing and tracking motion, but let's bring your eye back. Make sure you select your eye, go to effects, and you got color correction, there we go, and you got levels. Okay, and in your levels you got your histogram, and you can obviously see that you can bring that really dark, really white and stuff. But the main thing is just let's go step by step. So let's go on the red first, and you can see that there's a little gap there. So let's reduce the red down a little bit, so you can clearly see that as soon as I bring this down a little bit, there's a huge change between the hairline. Okay, watch that very carefully. Okay, so we just kind of, if I just take the effects out, so you've got a really red tint happening, and I'm going to just work on the red first. So I'm going to just bring this red down a bit more, and let's go on the green. Again, you can just bring this green down a little bit. So there you go. And we're going to just make sure that the color correction is nice and representative. And then we're going to go on the blue, and again, blue again. See, that's so somewhere here. So if I just take this effects out, so we were somewhere here before, very red tinted, and let's get the levels up and running. If I just play this now, it just kind of really represents the right color correction. Okay, and once we have worked on all our RGBs, let's go back to our RGB, and now we can kind of start looking at our blacks, just bringing more black in, and then bringing more white in if I want. So I can kind of really make it kind of, especially when you're working with CGI and real footage, it's kind of really expression that you can kind of work side by side. So I'm going to just make it a bit more darker on this skin tone there, just kind of bring this in a bit more. And just remember that what I've done first is I've worked on first my red, my green, making sure the green palettes are right there. This gap means that there's no green, so just you might as well just bring this icon there. And then you got your blue, then going back on your RGB, and then it can get settled in this way. So I'm going to just have a bit of a dark tone there. There you go, somewhere there. Okay, so I'm kind of happy with that effect there. So you can see that very clearly there's something really dominant about the skin. So let's go back and see our take the effects off. So that was before, and this is after. You can see it's really dark. The whole expression of, especially the eyebrows, you can see even the hairlines are coming up as well. So that's a really simple, subtle touch of color correcting, color balancing. Okay, I believe we did cover the color balancing in the second year, but please recap. Just go even on lynda.com as well about the color correction if you are not sure. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the color balancing. I'm going to just kind of bring this slightly down more, a bit more, kind of got the dark. And now it doesn't look washed out. So if I just kind of see that looks very washed out, and now it looks a bit subtle. You can just see how things are. You can just go on the red again, and then you can start kind of bringing the red. And the good thing about it, you can just kind of make that look really kind of a zombie look as well, kind of really gonna go into the green. But obviously let me just make that very natural. And then let's go on the green as well, just kind of really bouncing ideas and really looking, really have a good eye as well, just making sure the skin tone is nicely blended together. Okay, so that was my last kind of place to work with. So I think I'm pretty happy. Let's do a RAM preview, and let's play this eye back. And I think there's a lot of things which we have done. One more thing which I haven't done is I didn't animated this this element. So I think it's really your turn to think about how you can maybe use some expression on it, or if you want to just do your rotate keyframe animation. Really up to you how you want to do it. Hope you enjoyed the whole series of creating a bionic eye on a normal human face. So enjoy this lab, and if there's any questions, please ask. Thank you.